This is now a mukbang. You're gonna watch me eat. Just kidding, we're gonna do other stuff. No, I'm gonna eat the pie. It was really good. I'm really proud of myself. Welcome back to Pilots. It is our 4th session, but our 5th video, and today we are focusing on stress. Something that I think a lot of us are feeling right now, especially me. If you couldn't tell, the videos previous to this were kind of ramping up to this point. So we started with goals. Setting goals can be really stressful, and we tried to break that down with our SMART goals. Then we talked about values. Values kind of help us solidify what we want out of life and what we're prioritizing to help us bolster against stress and say, no, I'm focusing on this right now. And then we talked about societal expectations, which whether or not we know who we are and whether or not we're fighting against that box we're being put in, it can put a lot of stress on us. So now we're going to talk about what stress looks like, what stress feels like, and how we can cope with it in a healthy manner. So let's start talking. Today, for my self-care tip, I'm going to be doing a vegan coconut cream pie. I'm going to make it from scratch, and I will show you a little bit of the process of it. The lighting in my kitchen is really bad, so I didn't do the whole thing, and also I had to leave a lot of it to set. So let's take a look at it. So for self-care today, I'm going to be making a vegan coconut cream pie because baking can be really therapeutic because you're putting together the right elements and you're creating something, and then you can eat it later and enjoy it. So hopefully this goes well. This is the first time I've ever made this. So I've already, yeah, Bert, I've already got some of it started. Let's wash our hands really well. No, buddy, sorry. Got this vegan butter in there. Ugh, I don't want to touch this. Oh, this is gross. I'm gonna pause this because it's scaring me. So now we add chili water. Straight from the Brita. Yeah? I know you want to cook too, buddy, but you can. I might have already added enough water. That could be concerning. I'm supposed to add it little by little, but well, we do have a ball of dough. I don't know what consistency it's supposed to have, but look at that, we made a pie crust. Well, kind of. It's not a crust yet, but it will be. So, those two. Should clean this off. Now I have to make the filling, but that's a different recipe because I didn't want to use the pie filling recipe or the pie crust recipe from the pie recipe. So I have to go look that up, but I will be back and I will be making that pie. Okay, so I'm back and I have an entire coconut cream pie that I made. It was really actually not as hard as I thought it would be. I think that making the dough, or baking the dough, because I didn't use the same dough as the recipe that I used for the pie, it was a little difficult to make sure that I baked it because the other one was a no-bake crust. But for me, this is self-care. It's a small thing that I can do that makes me happy, and I'm so excited that I made this. Take a look at it. Okay, I'm gonna cut it, and let's see how it comes out. Oh my God. I think that crunch is good, right? I've never made a pie. I think I might need to let it set for a little bit longer. Okay. Oh, oh no. Okay. Well, it's just gonna be goop on my plate. All right, well, let's try it with just that. Okay, ready? Let's see how it tastes. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is really good. I'm proud of myself. 10 out of 10. That recipe, also 10 out of 10. I can't really get the crust though. So this is a little self-care tip. I get a little less stressed when I bake because I'm producing something, I'm putting something out there, and it makes me happier and makes me feel good to share this with people that I love and, I don't know, make something tasty. It might not be the same for you. You might have other interests and other things. These self-care tips are me just showing what I do to relax and de-stress and feel a little bit better about myself. But we're going to continue talking about stress, and maybe we're going to help you come up with different ways to recognize your stress and de-stress in your own way. So let's go do that. I also, as self-care during this whole period of time, I cut my own hair. I don't know if you could tell because it's not much, well, I mean, it's like that much shorter. I followed, his name is Brad Mondo. He has videos on YouTube and he's a hairstylist and he showed like how to cut your own hair. Don't listen to me and do it, okay? I am not encouraging you to cut your own hair. I did it, okay? I'm an adult who I won't get stressed out if I mess up my hair. I mean, I will. But if you follow his tutorial, it's not my fault. You do it, okay? It worked well for me. I'm not telling you to cut your own hair, okay? I cut my own hair. I think it came out great. I love it. Don't do it unless you want to. And if you do it, it's not my fault. Tell your parents that it's not my fault. Okay. So we're also going to do a little service project today, or I'm going to tell you about a service project that you can do because I'm going to type mine up. I know that I've been going back and forth on whether or not I'm having service projects in each session. It's just because some topics take a little bit longer or I'm focusing a little bit more on self-care that day. But today, what I want for you to do is to write a letter. It can be to a healthcare worker right now because they could definitely use letters of thanks. It could be to somebody that's in the hospital. If you write out a physical letter, you can pass that along, drop it off at a hospital. If you're still feeling no contact, which I would recommend, type it up, email it to a local hospital and try to look up what their HR or their human resources or any customer kind of feedback portal and just thank whoever is working right now, or say that you have a letter for somebody who might need some words of encouragement, and write a nice letter telling somebody how you're looking forward to tomorrow and you're looking forward to what they're providing and thanking them for giving us the opportunity to live a happy, healthy life as soon as this is over. And for people who might be sick in the hospital right now, tell them what you're doing and say that you hope that they can get back to doing that too and having a great life and that you're rooting for them. I think that it's a nice way to give somebody a boost of positivity in this time. You can also write it to somebody in your life that you think might be feeling alone right now. But I think that there are some people out there that could definitely use words of encouragement and know that there's somebody out there that's thinking about them. So I'm going to write mine and I'm going to send it to a local hospital thanking their healthcare workers, and I hope that you'll do it with me. So stress comes with a lot of misconceptions, namely that stress in and of itself is bad for you. You can't feel any stress at all because it's terrible. You are too blessed to be stressed. But a little bit of stress is what helps us motivate to do the things that we need to do in life. When I wake up in the morning, if I don't feel like going to work, I realize that if I don't go, I might get fired. If I miss too much work, I won't be able to take care of myself. So I feel that stress and I get up and I go out and I do what I need to do. And that's the good stress, the stress that helps us do our chores, do our homework, take care of ourselves and go to work, take care of our friends and our pets. That's the stress that humanistically we feel to survive. But sometimes we feel that pressure from goals that we make, from things that people tell us to do and what society asks us to do, and it feels too much and it feels like the pressure that's bearing down on us and we cannot function anymore. And that's when stress levels get too high and humans can no longer function and they start to get anxious and they start to get depressed and they start to feel all these negative emotions. So we're going to work on recognizing our stress and managing it. We're not going to get rid of it, we're managing it because we need stress. So I came up with a little table so that we can look at it and we can see what our stress looks like to us and how we can handle it. Okay, so let's take a look. I also did an example already. So make sure that I'm in there. Okay, so things that stress me out, how I feel physically, how I feel mentally, and how I can handle it. So for me, an example that I put is that having an important conversation with someone can be pretty stressful for me. You know, if you feel like you have to tell somebody something that you've been thinking about lately and you don't know how they're going to take it, it can be pretty stressful. So what it makes me feel like physically is shaky. I can get a headache or a stomach ache, and I can get nauseous. Mentally, I feel anxious, which is part of the physicality too, if we're breaking down. I feel irritable and I feel sad depending on what the conversation is going to be. But how I can handle it and how I can take that stress and bring it back down is taking a deep breath, center myself, go over what I want to say with them, and remember that communication is so important and it's something that you need to do in order to have happy and healthy relationships. So that's an example of some stress that I feel, but I can give you another example. So let's fill out another example and let's do it something that's maybe a little bit more applicable for you guys. So preparing for the SAT. Okay, that's a pretty stressful thing, I think, for a lot of people. It was very stressful for me in high school, so I can only imagine the people who are still going through it, what it must feel like. So maybe some of the same physical symptoms. So you get a headache because you are pressuring yourself. You get sick to your stomach. I guess this is what I felt. Let me know in the comments if you feel it too. Tired. I get super tired when I'm stressed out, especially when you're focusing on something that is like heavy material for school. Mentally, I feel worried. If I don't do well on the SAT, I'm not going to get into college. I feel scared. Well, that's maybe the same. No, scared and worried. I feel angry, a lot of pressure. I feel sad too. I feel sad. So what can I do to handle this stress, this big bearing thing that's coming down on me? Well, I can create a study plan. I can't type. I can create a study plan to make my life so much easier when I'm preparing for the SAT. So on certain days I can do math, on certain days I can do English, and on other days I can work on the essay portion. Okay, I can take breaks to reset my mind and body. So self-care tips, those things that I've been giving you. Take a breath, bake a pie, do some yoga, garden, work on a hobby that you love, okay? Just take some breaks. It is okay not to pressure yourself into working constantly. The human body can't handle too much work or it stops functioning. That's when the stress gets too high. So take a break. It is okay. You do not have to do all-nighters. In fact, if you do all-nighters, it's probably worse for you in retaining any information. Give yourself some breaks, parcel things out throughout the day, and it can help bring down that stress. So I'm gonna post this into the link below with the surveys. Please do the surveys. So that you can fill it out. I developed that one myself. It was really quick. I can add more squares to it if you want, so that you can keep track of this over time. I think that it's really good to be able to put into words what is stressing you out, how you're feeling about it, and what you can do about it, okay? But sometimes it's a little difficult to recognize what stress looks like and what it feels like for us. So we're gonna talk about that as well. So let me pull up some signs and symptoms of overstress. So this is a site that I was looking at for stress management. So Like I said, stress isn't a bad thing. We can reframe it and manage our stress. We could talk about it with other people and make sure that we're being open with them about how our stress is making us feel, because sometimes we can take our stress out on other people and it's not their fault that we're upset and we're stressed out. But then again, sometimes it is other people that is stressing us out. Prioritize. We worked on prioritizing what you value and what you need to do and what you want to do. So making sure that you have those SMART goal worksheets and parceling out what you need to do can help you prioritize your responsibilities. Focus on your basics, the things that you need for your body to function first. Things that can make you more stressed, more anxious, more depressed are not eating, not sleeping, not drinking enough water, okay? Make sure that you're doing those things, because if you're super strung out, not having enough sleep, haven't eaten for days because you've been in the library for God knows how long, your brain is going to be in crisis mode and it's not going to retain anything more than fight or flight symptoms. So you need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself before you take care of this and whatever else you have to do, because you are what you have at the end of the day. So make sure that you're taking care of it, because it's more important than a test. It's more important than a chore. Communicate with people too. If you're feeling too stressed, if there are things that are pressuring you beyond the point of good stress, of motivation, then you got to tell people and say, hey, I can't do this right now. I can't focus on this because I am having a meltdown right now. And I promise you, I know it's so scary to talk to other people about when you're having a crisis, but people are going to understand because everyone's been there. Everyone's had that problem. Everybody's been a little too stressed and had a little bit too much on their plate. So make sure that you're communicating with other people. Okay, so let's go back to looking at this. Okay. Like I said, set aside time for yourself, take care of yourself, do some self-care. Don't put so many things in, like don't prioritize one specific part of your life over everything else. Make sure you're balancing your time, because if you put all your time into working for an AP test and you forget to take care of your friends and your hobbies and you get overwhelmed and stressed by those that are building up, it's not good management. Okay, and keep things in perspective. There are big things that we can worry about, and then there are little things, and sometimes we let those little things build up and up and up, and we're like, this is the most important thing in my life, I'm gonna die if I don't do this. It's okay. The world will not end if you get a C on a test. The world will not end if you don't text back your friend for a couple of hours. Okay? It's fine. You'll be okay. Just take a deep breath, prioritize, communicate, take care of yourself, and break down the things that you need to do so your stress doesn't build. Okay? Now let's take a look at what stress looks like for some people compared to others. So too much stress can look like restlessness, being on edge, getting tired too easily, getting easily fatigued, having difficulty concentrating and feeling like your mind is absolutely blank, you can't process anything. People say stuff to you and it just goes, okay? Irritability, I get really snappy when I am stressed out. Like somebody will tell me one thing and I'll be like, how dare you talk to me right now? Being really, really tense. My back is constantly tense because I'm very anxious and stressed all the time. I'm not great at managing my stress. I'm working on it with you guys. So I will update you on whether or not I am as stressed as this goes on. And having difficulty sleeping can also be a sign of too much stress. Obviously, it looks different in other people. It might not be the same for you. So everybody feels stress, anxiety, depression, anything differently than others might. And so for me, I get headaches, I get angry, I get tired, and I cannot concentrate when I'm stressed. It's like I am in full fight or flight mode and I get like a little cocoon and I'm like, please, no one look at or talk to or think about me until I've dealt with everything that I need to do. For other people, it might be something else. You know, you might have extreme sadness. You know, you're very, very sad because you're worried that you're not going to get something done, or you might get extra anxious and might feel that pit of your stomach and you might get nauseous and not want to eat.
it looks different for other people. So check in with your body, check in with yourself, your mind, when you're really stressed, and say, how do I feel? How am I experiencing this? And then you can find the signs that you're ramping up to too much stress when you start to feel those things. So when you're at down here and you're like, okay, I have a test in 3 weeks that I don't feel too good about. Okay. That's like, I have a little bit of stress. Okay. I'm feeling it. And then time starts coming and you're like, I still don't feel prepared for this test. And you start to get nauseous and you're like, I'm not going to eat lunch today. Maybe I'll just study. And then you stop sleeping and you're extra tired, but you can't go to bed. And you're like, I have to stay up, but I'm tired. But when you try to go to bed, you can't get to sleep because you have stress dreams. And then you start getting angry at people. And then full-blown meltdown, can't do anything. The test is here. You put so much pressure on yourself. So find that kind of upward curve, that motion that's like, I'm down here and now I'm up here. So you can help yourself recognize when it's starting to get into the danger zone, okay? I can also put in stress charts in the description so that you can look at different monitoring activities and different ways that you can bring your stress back down, or even think about how it feels for you. It's really important to get in touch with your body and your mind. I know that it's really scary sometimes and people don't want to think about what's going on inside there because there's a lot going on inside there. But the more that you get to know yourself, the easier it'll be to handle and cope in a healthy way. I know myself when I start to get stressed, and I've started to communicate with people and tell them, hey, when I get really, really stressed out, please don't talk to me. I will tell you if I'm feeling stressed and I need some time to myself. At work, I'll tell my boss and I'll say, hey, can you just tell me what I need to do? And then I'm going to put in my headphones and I'm just going to work for a couple of hours. I need some time to myself. And she'll be like, yeah, that's totally fine. Because I communicated with her before it got to the point where I was snapping at people and telling people that they needed to leave me alone. And that's not healthy because that damages relationships. So we got to get into the habit of recognizing when we're getting too stressed and when we're getting too anxious, and tell people, hey, please give me some space, or ask people for help, or do what you need to do to feel better. So I hope that this helps you in some way. I hope that the chart that I'm going to put in that I made will help you kind of track how you're feeling about your stress. It's really honestly been beneficial for me to track what makes me stressed. And throughout this time, it's been really difficult even to notice when stress is creeping up, because I'll be not prioritizing something because time has no meaning anymore. And then I'll be like, oh my gosh, it's Friday tomorrow. I have all this work that I need to do. I have a job interview. I have all of this. Boom. And then I get super stressed, like automatically. So making sure that you're parceling out what you need to do and keeping track of how you're feeling can help you, especially during this time, in keeping yourself from having a stress meltdown. So I hope that you liked our self-care pie activity. It was me baking a pie and then showing you. I can also put the recipe in the description. It's a really good pie. So we did the self-care pie. I showed you my stress chart that you can fill out at home and help yourself monitor. We talked about what stress looks like and the ways that we can manage it. And we got to be outside, which was really nice. And it's starting to get warm again. And I don't know, I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to the next few sessions. Next session is going to be a little bit heavier, just warning you now. We're going to have a couple that are a little bit heavier than they have been in the past because, like I said, we're ramping up to a certain point where we're using all these tools that I'm giving you and putting them together to help combat the bigger stuff that we might be feeling during this time and in our lives in general. So I hope you're looking forward to that, because I am, and I am excited to see you next time. Thank you. Take the surveys. Take the surveys. Don't cut your hair unless you want to, and then it's not my fault.
In another video, I said that I was really bad at making coffee, so I'm practicing with my French press. My old coworkers at Starbucks would probably be disappointed in me if I'm not good at it, but it looks fine. It just doesn't taste as strong as when I get it in the store. So like maybe that's my issue. It tastes like coffee. Yeah, Bert, you want some coffee?
No, you can't drink that.